top 5 weapons, top 10 anime betrayals, and all the rest. How many of them have you seen? Well, you might as well just watch one more, and let's see if I have anything original to say. Hi, this is Discussing Games, and this is the first on my channel, but I thought I'd try something different and discuss one of my favourite games, which has, in my opinion, the best weapons of any Souls game. So, without further ado, let's get into the list. First up, and coming in at number 5, we have the Whirligig Saw. And now you're asking yourself, why the saw?
That's why.
Acquired in the DLC's first level, the Hunter's Nightmare, and affectionately nicknamed the Pizza Cutter, this weapon is a favourite of meme-loving hunters everywhere. In its transform attack, the meme saw becomes what is effectively a circular, or buzzsaw for you Americans out there, on a stick. A trick weapon crafted by the Powder Kegs, the weapon scales with both strength and arcane, but is a staple of the former. It also fits very well with poison gems due to the ability to land constant hits through its saw attack. The main benefit of the saw attack, which might as well be its only attack animation, is the weapon's ability to stun-lock enemies at the cost of the slow consumption of the player's stamina. Its fully charged R2 slams the ground and can cause good damage if it fully connects, and some limited shockwave type damage if it does not. With the correct gems and knowledge of the weapon's different attacks, the Pizza Cutter can be a real challenge to face in PvP, as if you land an attack it can do some serious damage. Furthermore, this weapon really holds its own against some of the hardest bosses in the game. Using Bolt Paper and this against the Orphan of Kos makes for a really lethal combination. Its biggest downfall is simultaneously its biggest strength. The weapon is a one-trick pony, and this may lead to boredom later down the line. I would suggest that you use this alongside another strength weapon with a slightly more diverse moveset, for example, the Amygdala Arm. In at number 4, we have Rakuyo. Hidden next to the true final boss of Bloodborne's DLC, the Shark Bros, Rakuyo, Lady Maria's cast-off weapon, is the bane of so many in PvP and a perfectly viable skill weapon in PvE. Rakuyo transforms from a twin blade to 2 weapons, a saber and a dagger, which are then dual-wielded. The weapon has a variety of unique attack animations, namely its spin L2 attack, which is notorious for its generous tracking in PvP, but also available as a double thrust forward through pressing R2 after L2 and a simultaneous diagonal attack through pressing R1 after L2. The weapon scales really well with skill, and in a skill build it can make for a lethal option that many have chosen. Personally, I used this toward the end of my second playthrough of the game, and was delighted by its various intricate and really fun little attack animations. Spamming the spin L2 attack became a staple of the PvP meta whilst I used it, and I am still very fond of it. Its only shortfall would be that its staple R1 attacks are a bit boring, and as such you will need to use the full range of its attacks to truly enjoy the weapon. I would definitely suggest this weapon for skill builds, however there is one more weapon in this list that, to me, takes the cake for best skill weapon. Coming in hot at number 3 is Shikage, the only katana in Bloodborne. This is the weapon of choice for the royal guards of the Queen of the Valbloods.
Sister of kin, last of our kind, I welcome thee. What is thy wish?
It has 2 forms, its first standard katana mode and its second blood-imbued two-handed mode. In the first mode, the weapon scales with skill, whereas in its second mode, it scales with blood tinge. This makes the weapon perfect for hybrid builds between skill and blood tinge, and it can also be used in convergence with many of the pistols in the game, most popularly Evelyn. The weapon can be acquired by travelling to Cainhurst Castle and joining the Cainhurst Valblood Covenant, after which it is available to purchase at the Bath Messengers. In PvE, the weapon's DPS can deal significant damage to many of the game's bosses, and it can do so very quickly in two-handed mode. In PvP, for skilled hunters, it makes for an excellent choice, so long as you time your attacks well. Most lethally, it has a sheathed transformation attack that can be spammed, which players can then use to surprise their enemy with huge sums of damage, particularly if they have the correct blood gems. This is one of my favourites, and I still go to it for PvP encounters due to its surprise attack capabilities and its entertaining moveset. But also, I just really love katanas. The perfect starting weapon for a rookie hunter who wants to hashtag spin to win, well, you guessed it, it's the Hunter's Axe. I used this all the way to unlocking the Holy Blade in my first playthrough, and yes, I know, but it was my first playthrough. It scales with strength very well, but it also has some potential for a quality build due to its excellent rally potential and fair skill scaling. With its held spinning R2 attack, it's perfect for dealing with large groups of enemies, and with experience, you can get the timing correct to even use this to destroy players in PvP. In two-handed mode, it acts almost like a spear or even a pike, as players can use the thrusting L1 transformed attack, or the L2 spinning swing attack. Some players would also say that it has a pretty generous hitbox in this two-handed mode, which makes for an even more terrifying prospect when facing up against it in PvP. In its single-handed mode, the weapon is fairly balanced as it hits hard without having too quick of an attack animation, which makes for a pretty decent DPS. In terms of gems, physical attack up gems are obviously the way to go here, and these should be a dime a dozen in any playthrough, meaning that it is a weapon that is very easy to make powerful. One downside to it though is that by virtue of its large size it consumes really significant amounts of stamina, meaning players should consider levelling up endurance to somewhere in the 20 to 30 range depending on their preference. So, whether you're a beginner or an expert, this is a reliable and easy to use weapon that can safely be your primary throughout an entire playthrough of the game, and for many, myself included, this is the first weapon and one that they will never forget. In at number 1, a controversial pick I'm sure, the ironically named Blades of Mercy. The weapon of choice of Eileen the Crow.
Enough trembling in your boots. A hunter must hunt.
This trick weapon is one of the oldest of the workshop. The weapon is my personal favourite by far, as it's perfect for fast, agile and skillful hunters due to its S-scaling in skill and compatibility with quick-stepping attacks. Such attacks have generous tracking and make for an excellent method to quickly attack players in PvP and quick-step into them to continuously layer attacks. Using the weapon alongside the old Hunter's Bone is also an excellent idea, as this hunter tool makes you invisible while quick-stepping, and by using the weapon this way, it may even be overpowered. Although the weapon does technically scale with Arcane, this is minimal, and should you desire to use the weapon in a build this way, then I would suggest that that's not a very good idea, as you can get it all the way up to 50 and it will still be basically pointless. Beyond this, in PvE I would dub the Blades of Mercy the bane of many bosses. For example, in previous playthroughs I really struggled to kill the Orphan of Kos, however in my most recent playthrough I did use the blades and I killed the Orphan on my first attempt. Using the blades will often stagger opponents, for example the Orphan, and finding gems to go in the weapon is actually really easy, particularly if you look up seeds online to this end. Thus, not only would I argue that the blades are a boss killer, but they're also a very user-friendly boss killer, which you can make very powerful with the correct leveling and gems. Altogether, this is one of my favourite weapons because of that, and due to it necessitating a speedy, agile and exciting approach to combat. Thanks a lot for watching my first attempt at a list style video. If you enjoyed this list and would like to see more of this type of thing, for example a boss ranking, let me know below, as I have a ton of ideas of different things that I can analyse in this format. If you think I'm a sellout who has no ideas and just thought that a list video would get me views, then let me know that too. Until next time, thanks a lot for watching, and thank you to my patrons whose ongoing support really means a lot to me. See you later.